Mark Blumard here, founder and CEO of Boulder & Co. Creative Studio, and we're a small boutique branding, marketing, and sales support agency with deep Wall Street experience offered at Main Street pricing. And today's episode is cash flow. Now, cash flow is one of the most important aspects to running any successful business. And so what I would like to do is run several episodes on cash flow. Cash flow is the reason that 99% of businesses fail. Think about this. If you had plenty of cash, why would you fail? So what are the causes for cash flow? Let's think about this for a second. If you think about cash flow, immediately what I think about is your marketing. How's your marketing? If you have cash flow, the signs are very simple. You're hemorrhaging cash, nothing's as profitable as it seems. You're in debt. You've had to borrow money just to stay alive. You've got cash flow issues. So what do you do about that? I would advise turning your lens immediately to marketing. Because your marketing, if you had enough marketing, then you would have enough customers that want your product or service. And if you had enough people buying your product or service, then you would have enough money. If you had enough money, you wouldn't have cash flow issues. And if you had enough demand for what you offer, you can actually offer a premium. So if you had enough people asking for your service or your product, then you can charge them more. If you charge them more, how would you have cash flow issues? These cash flow issues are really significant, but it boils down to a few significant things that you need to take care of. You need to take care of them anyways. The problem with marketing is that they just focus on a channel. They say, okay, let's look at Facebook. Is Facebook working? Well, do you know that? Your marketing needs to be predictable, repeatable, and scalable. I've said this many times. So first of all, it needs to be predictable. What I mean by predictable is multiple things. You've got to have a system, a channel, a funnel, whatever you want to call it. That's predictable. If my marketing is predictable, then I can go to my CFO and say, okay, listen, if you give me $10,000, I'll bring in $250,000. I can look her in the eye and say that. That's a predictable model. Do you have that? Do you know how much your acquisition cost is for your new clients or your customers? Most of the companies that we work with, they actually don't know that. They don't know their acquisition cost, and they don't know how much that person's worth for them. So if their acquisition cost is $30, that's great. But how much is that client worth to them? And it's not just a face value. We work with companies to really find that out. So if you've got a client, is it a one-off? Do they buy it once? Or is it a repeat? Is it residual? What's the life expectancy with that person? All that stuff goes into a formula, and that should tell you how much that client is worth to you. And if you understood how much that client is worth to you, then you need to understand how much it's worth in order to pay for it, your acquisition cost. So again, there's three parts to it. You need to have a system that's predictable. You need to have a system that's repeatable, and you have to have a system that's scalable. So one of the most important things with cash flow is this marketing. And the problem with marketing is a lot of people don't understand, like I said, their cash flow or their acquisition costs, but they don't understand who they are. They don't understand their brand. You can't have a marketing department unless you have got a really strong brand. And that brand is who you are, why you're in business, what you're selling, what's the benefit of it. That's that brand narrative. It's the story behind your brand. And it's the thing that most people don't want to pay for. They just want the marketing, they want the sales. But it's that foundation. You've got to figure out your brand. You got to figure out your why. You got to figure out your how, and you got to figure out your what. You figure out your brand, then you figure out your marketing, and from your marketing, you figure out your sales. And those are three things. If you don't have those three things, then you've got cash flow issues, folks. So if you have cash flow issues, if you're in debt, if you can't figure out, if you're in a sales slump, then look first and foremost at your marketing. And in order to look at your marketing, you actually have to look at your branding. So best of luck, and if you have any questions, give me a shout.